Hello everyone, how's it going? So in this video, we're going to talk about ChargePoint Holdings trading under the ticker symbol CHPT on the NASDAQ. On the NYSE. So basically in this video, what we're going to cover is where this stock comes from. It's, like why it's relevant, why I talk about it today, and the future outlooks for it. So ChargePoint is basically your electric equivalent of a refueling station, but for EVs. They're in the business of recharging your batteries. So as long as the EV trend remains relevant, they would remain relevant. At least that's on paper. And back when the EV craze was in full-on mode, CHPT was very, very popular with traders because we all thought that, well, this is going to control the world. This is going to go over the moon. This is going to be a stock that's going to be very crucial for the decades to come. Maybe we're right. I'm not saying that this point of view is irrelevant or is erroneous, because we can all see that the EV trend is here to stay. It may go through different phases. It may have to it may have to solve different kinds of problems, especially regarding the rare earth, how polluting it is to get it out, and whether we can recycle the batteries. But then at some point, people started to realize, well, you know what? Maybe these assets are inflated. Maybe these assets don't really have that kind of value, and you know what? Maybe I shouldn't put my money in there. So this is the metamorphosis that occurred with ChargePoint. It's not really just a question of, oh, maybe their fundamentals aren't so good anymore. And even then, if I'm being honest, looking at the financials, so let's see the financials. Over time, things have been relatively on the up and up. Of course, the net income is not that great, but this is normal for a company that is relatively new. Of course, they were founded back in 2007, so I'm not saying that they were just founded back in 2019 or 2010, right? Obviously. But they're trying to generate more income. They're trying to have more revenue. They're trying to break even. They're trying to be more efficient, so on and so forth. But you know what? I think that the main issue here is that time has changed. So the trends that we were once following, these have changed. There's nothing that we can do about it. That's just part of the nature, part of the reality, right? So regarding ChargePoint, the price action has shown that, well, the market is less and less interested in it, but at the same time, they kept their fingers on the $10 level. And this is very important because the $10 level, for those who come from the 2020 era, is the critical level for most SPACs. SPACs can give back your money if they don't find a target to merge with. This is what SPACs are for. And typically, the price per share, the cost per share for a SPAC would be $10 or $20. So the fact that ChargePoint has remained just right up, right above $10 means something to a whole bunch of people, at least symbolically. I don't know whether this is important, I don't know how significant it is for people who haven't come from that era, but for me, it says something. Now, it says something because of something that happened in the past, of course, but also because maybe the market has found a floor at $10. We cannot be sure for 100% whether this is the case, but I think that psychologically speaking, very few traders are willing to send the stock below $10 in any sustained length of time. And a lot of people, on the contrary, a lot of people are ready to buy if it goes below 10. So this is why I think that right now it is located at a very interesting level. Okay, it's interesting to see that ChargePoint in such a difficult environment has maintained a very solid floor. And we are sitting right above that floor. So this is why I would say that this stock definitely has a future. It has a future, it has a relevance, and it does deserve to have a place in your portfolio. But for which kind of investors is it for? This would be for the risk-tolerant kind of people. This is if you believe in Tesla, if you believe in EVs, if you believe in fuel cell, if you believe that Arc Tech or biotech is eventually going to make a comeback. Okay, so if you're one of those, and we need people like these, if you're one of those kinds of investors, and yes, I'm going to use the word investor in this case, because I don't necessarily believe in the short-term trading potentials for ChargePoint. But if you're an investor, I think that ChargePoint is one of those companies to at least keep an eye on, and then to find good locations to start buying in. I honestly don't think that you're going to regret this. Now, with that being said, is now a good time to buy? Yes, for the current time frame. For the foreseeable future, and assuming that the macroeconomic trends don't modify in one shot. What do I mean by that? Well, imagine if a major bank just collapses, right? Such as Credit Suisse. But of course, Credit Suisse didn't collapse. It got bought up by UBS. But imagine something like, I'm just making it up, okay? Because I'm sure that this is never gonna happen. Let's say Deutsche Bank just went under. And then this is gonna create a shockwave across the world because they have trillions of potentially toxic hedging or synthetic instruments. So if Deutsche Bank goes under and then the economy takes a tumble, what's going to happen to CHPT? What's going to happen to people who can afford to buy a brand new Teslas? Well, they're going to go back to their bikes and to start delivering Uber Eats. That's what's going to happen. So there's going to be less people buying Teslas. There's going to be less people needing EV charging points. But if you think about it, the other thing is, in the long time frame, okay, in the longer time frame, I would say that the price of EVs, like pure play EVs, but especially the hybrids, is gonna come down. They're very close to where the combustion engine cars are, in fact. So if you give it just another few years, more and more people technically are supposed to be needing those kinds of services. And personally, I am a relatively risk-averse type of investor, but looking at the current price point, I personally believe that this stock does have a future. It deserves to be eventually on your portfolio. Should you start buying it now? I believe so. Should you buy it in one shot? No, I don't think that's a good idea. And also, what is going to be the time frame? I would say that the purchases should happen within the next 2 years. So from now to the next 2 years. Because what if the economy actually takes a tumble? Well, we have lower cost, right? We can average down our cost. This is the good thing with having a purchase discipline and not just buy anything at the maximum of your allocated amount, or even worse, not having an allocated amount for any security. So this is what I want. This is like what I want you to think about. And really, I would say that ChargePoint is an interesting stock to look at, especially that now the hype has been settled down. We have like something that's probably closer to the real value of ChargePoint.